and that opens him up a 3-car advantage over his teammate. Fantastic battling.
Good stuff there by those two. Yeah, Paul Tracy really is, he's driving with immense confidence right now. Those 2 wins have done wonders for him. He had that probation, of course, for a big fine after the race at Long Beach. But since then, he's been dynamite.
So behind those 2 Penskes is Gilles de Ferran in 9th place. Carpentier is in 10th position. But up front, it's still Jimmy Vasser who leads this. Remember, it's a whole year since he won a race, Jimmy Vasser. It was on Memorial Day weekend last year. And there's Rick Mears in the pits. In the Penske pit, of course, keeping an eye on these 2. We spoke to Rick Mears earlier in the week. You may have well have seen on our programs here on Eurosport. And Rick was telling us about his role in the team of guiding the drivers a little bit, particularly on the oval tracks. He's such an experienced oval track racer himself, and he must have been a little bit concerned, I should think, when he saw the 2 of them actually running quite as close as they were through turns 1 and 2 a moment ago. But they have survived the moment, and as we have completed 118 laps, it's now half distance completed. I have to tell you, there's a few more droplets of rain on our window here in the commentary box. This is a bit worrying as the battle for the lead now hots up again. Jimmy Vasser leads, Greg Moore in 2nd. You can see the droplets for yourself on some of the cameras around the circuit, and Greg Moore must be aware of that as well, and he may be being ordered by his team to get on with it. Try and get past Jimmy Vasser as quickly as you can. Look at the amount of rubbish around there on the circuit, and that's part of the problem that we mentioned earlier with the radiator dust picking up plastic bags and stuff that have blown across from the grandstand. The wind is getting slightly stronger, and the rain is definitely heading our way. Still keeping an eye out of our window. It's not too bad at the moment. Still Jimmy Vasser has a slight advantage over Greg Moore. But we have got a yellow. We've got a yellow flag, and it is for moisture. It is for the wetness. So, well, this is very interesting. Now, is Jimmy Vasser going to look back at this point and say, that's the point I won the race, or are we going to see things dry up enough that we're going to be able to get this race up and running again? Whatever happens, we've now completed half distance, so if it rains now for the rest of the afternoon, they will declare a result, but they will wait for quite a while to see whether the track actually can dry up and we can get the race restarted before they decide to do that. But at the moment, Jimmy Vasser must be very happy, Jeremy, that when the yellow flag came out, he was ahead.
Yes, indeed. Certainly would be cruel luck, I think, for Greg Moore, who has driven a magnificent race, and I think conceivably had the fastest car on the racetrack. I can tell you what, though, as that moisture came out, Patrick Carpentier, I could see right across there in turn 2, he slid awfully close to the wall.
Well, we're going to take a little look at what happened to Carpentier. This is it, the replay of Carpentier getting very wide and high, and bash, just touching the wall on the outside. Looks as though he may well have got away with it, but he was very, very high. He was off the throttle, waiting for the thing to grip again. But it certainly took quite a while, and that really was what meant the yellow flag came out, because they could see that incident, and they thought to themselves, well, obviously it could be getting slippery out there. Time to throw the yellow. And the card officials now have the opportunity to actually get out there and have a look for themselves. And Wally Dallenbach, the chief steward, will be very, very keenly looking at the track surface and identifying whether it is actually too much of a problem. Don't forget, they've got the dryers, the track dryers. They will be going out there if they think there's the need for them to try and dry the track out a little bit. Obviously, they won't really do that unless it's actually stopped raining. But at the moment, can't see too much rain out there. It's very, very slight moisture around. It's not really raining as yet.
Not really even a drizzle, is it? Just a few spots here and there, I think, at the moment. I think I'm pretty confident we'll be able to go back green here fairly soon. The Penske's are in the pits. That's interesting. They obviously think that there's not any serious rain in the vicinity, because I'm sure the Penske team will have radar, weather radar, and they wouldn't be in the pits right now unless they were... Oh, God, Paul Tracy getting the thing sideways. Just missing Andre Ribeiro. It's pretty slippery down in the pit lane, isn't it? Looks
Alonso
like
stalled it there, I think, and I wonder, it almost looks as though he was waiting for Tracy. I wouldn't have thought he would do that. We saw the battle between them a moment ago, so I think he actually hiccuped as he came out of his pit. Then he stalled it, but he seemed to just pick it up on the clutch and get it fired up again.
He was lucky there. He lost the fire for sure, and he was just able to get it back up and running again. Lucky break there for Alonso. It's not often you can really kick the clutch in and get those things going again, but he was able to, and able to get back onto the racetrack, and he only lost, he lost 2 or 3 places for certain, but it could have been a heck of a lot worse.
3 leaders into the pits as well, so as you say, Jeremy, they all must be fairly confident that the rain's not going to get any heavier. Well, in fact, it has stopped raining now, so they're fairly confident. This is an important battle in the pits. The two Chip Ganassi cars right behind one another, and the Forsyth car of Greg Moore. Now, who's going to be out first of these three cars? They're at different ends of the pit lane, so it looks as though the Chip Ganassi team... Oh no, you just saw going past, Greg Moore got past one of them, but has he got past Jimmy Vasser? I don't think so. I think no, Jimmy Vasser has the advantage still, more seconds than Artie third. So in fact the positions stay exactly the same between those three as they were before they came into the pit lane. And as they come out, they should come out at the head of the field. In fact, it's interesting to see that Michael Andretti is now being shown as our leader.
Yeah.
He's not come in.
No, he doesn't. They obviously reckon that there is rain in the air, and he's going to stay out there as long as he can. He knows his car's not on the pace, it seems, this afternoon. So he's clutching at straws, I think, the Newman Haas team. Richie Hearn also stayed out on the racetrack. But as I say, I think that's pretty much wishful thinking. It doesn't look at, yeah, those clouds look awfully high to me. I don't think we're going to need serious rain for a little while, but some of these guys don't agree with me, that's for certain.
There seems to be a little bit of contention down there and confusion as to when the pit had opened and when it hadn't. And obviously a group of cars came in that first lap who thought it had opened, and some of the other teams didn't think that it had opened at that point. So a little bit of consternation going on down there as we're just over half distance at the Gateway International Raceway. Dario Franchitti has three Italian grandparents, but you wouldn't know from the way he talks. Last year he spent the season in the ITC. Now he's in the kart championship, a series he came to without ever seeing a race.
I've really never seen it on TV. I hadn't been to a race before, but it just looked, the racing looked great on TV, and I thought I really want to be a part of that. The cars look good fun to drive, and they are.
For Guada Salles, the Rio 400 was a true home race. He was born and raised in Rio de Janeiro. Last year, Salles challenged for the Firestone Indy Lights Championship with 3 wins. Like many of Brazil's new generation, Salles came to know kart racing through the great Emerson.
Well, if there is one driver that I would like to emulate, it would be Emerson Fittipaldi for his character and his achievements outside the track. He's a guy that I think everybody likes it. So because of his character and because of the good heart that he has.
Patrick Carpentier is the third of the rookie threesome from Quebec. He's a former speed skating champion. He dominated the Toyota Atlantic Championship last year en route to the title. Now he drives for Tony Bettenhausen, and he admits that he may have underestimated the challenge of kart.
It's everything I thought it would be in IndyCars, but it's even more than that. It's a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. I thought I was going there and just run in top 10 and be with the fastest guys all the time, but it's very different.
Welcome back to the live pictures here with Michael Andretti leading, but we've got an interview with Chip Ganassi coming up to talk about the problem about the pit lane opening at different times for the leaders, and then for the Penskes of Paul Tracy. It means that the likes of Greg Moore, Zanardi and Vasser have dropped down in the queue. Vasser is now 10th, Moore is 11th, Zanardi is 12th, because they didn't get the sign that the pit lane had been open when they came round, but the sign that pit lane had been open was given to Tracy and the others.
Jogging with Chip Ganassi, you ran all the way to the other end of pit road. You went and gave a piece of paper to Billy Camphausen about the order you want the cars to be in. What's the situation?
No, what I gave Billy a list of the cars that pitted. We were actually past the pit entrance when they opened the pits. The cars that were behind us on the lead lap all pitted, effectively getting in front of us, and the pits were closed when we came by. So the kart's done the right thing. I want to applaud Wally and Kirk and the kart organization. They did the right thing and said, wait a minute, we made a mistake. We're fixing it right now.
Okay, where are they going to put your drivers now?
Where they're supposed to be.
Which is?
I think we're in front of the cars that were on our segment. We're about, I want to say, 4th or so. We're good. They did the right thing.
Okay, well, here comes Billy. He wants to give you the final report. Thank you, Chip.
Well, that's good news, and it's good to hear that kart have reacted. There obviously was a mistake there, Jeremy. They made a mistake in when they opened the pit lane. They meant that those 3 guys lost out, but look, they've now moved up to where they should be. Michael Andretti is leading the queue. He's leading the race because he didn't stop. Richie Hearn is second, but then we've got those 3 cars who had to stop later.
That's right, and all credit to kart for fixing that. Obviously, there's a sign out there that at the pit entry, which is half a lap away from the start-finish line, and obviously that the sign there says plus or minus. It shows the drivers quite clearly whether or not they can pit, and it seems that the sign was flipped across just after the first few cars had gone past it, or at least out of their peripheral vision, let's say. So that's a good move. Michael Andretti, of course, and Richie Hearn there, still first and second. They haven't yet stopped.
what it doesn't need. So it was like a fire hose, basically just spewing methanol all over the car, and it was lucky because it got hot in a big hurry, and I was lucky to get it slowed down and jump out, but it's you know, not fun.
Okay, what's the doctor say about the burns? First, second?
Second degree, just sort of like a bad sunburn, and you know, keep ice on it. Don't do anything dumb. You know, it'll be fine. You know, I'm not worried about it.
On the Milwaukee, Jan?
Well, Marty?
Well, Bobby Rahal obviously recovering from that. They've just dressed the wound. We just came back from our break in the middle of the interview, but you basically heard all that he had to say about that incident. We're getting ready for the restart once again. Michael Andretti leads after 134 laps. We've just had our 6th yellow flag period of the race so far, but really the battle for the lead is effectively between Jimmy Vasser, Greg Moore and Zanardi, who are running 3rd, 4th and 5th on the road at the moment. There they are, that little group of cars there. Those are the guys we're watching because Andretti didn't stop last time. He's really counting on more rain, but I have to tell you, it's brightened up a little bit at the moment. A little bit of rain that we had earlier on has seemed to disappear for the moment, and as we get the restart underway, Andretti charges away up front, and moving up in past Richie Hearn up into 2nd place goes Jimmy Vasser.
Yeah, behind them, Alex Zanardi moves past Greg Moore there, 4th position coming into turn 1. Great move by Alex Zanardi, great restart by him.
So Zanardi ahead of Moore. That's very important for him as they come round at the end of this lap. Michael Andretti with the advantage, but he hasn't really been running on the pace here today. And I would expect to see those other cars of Vasser and Zanardi close up to Andretti fairly quickly. As you're watching further down, Paul Tracy's trying to get past Parker Johnston. Doesn't quite make it there. That's the battle for 8th position. Paul Tracy still trying to work up his way through the order after dropping back. And look at Alonso Jr. right behind him too.
Alonso Jr. has moved past the 2 Tasman cars. That's rather curious because Alonso Jr. lost those positions due to his bad pit stop. Not quite sure how they managed to get away with that one. I think there's some funny business going on there. I don't think Steve Hall will be very happy. Here is Greg Moore making a move on Richie Hearn down into 4th position there. I guess it's 3rd place now, isn't it? Because they both moved past Richie Hearn. So the order after 137 laps, Michael Andretti, Jimmy Vasser, Alex Zanardi, there we are watching him with Greg Moore filling his mirrors as they go into turn 3.
Behind them is Scott Pruitt, still running strongly in 6th place. Mauricio Guterman in 7th. And then Parker Johnston in 8th. Paul Tracy 9th. Alonso Jr. 10th. Gilles de Ferran in 11th. Ahead of Andre Ribeiro, Adrian Fernandez, Patrick Carpentier, and Dario Franchitti, who's now down in 15th position. But we'll keep an eye on his lap times to see whether he can make up the lost ground in this race. Behind him is Guelph Salles in 16th. And you're looking at some of the cars that are already out, including Mark Blundell, who went out fairly early on in this race. A disappointment for him and for his sponsor Motorola here this weekend. But the race continues, and it's still a very intriguing battle that we can enjoy. Paul Tracy still trying to find a way past Parker Johnston. Johnston, who running with the Cool Green team this year, really his first year with a top team. He's running a couple of years over the last couple of seasons with the Honda engine in the Brix Comtech team. It wasn't really one of the top IndyCar teams. Gave him a lot of good experience after his background in the IMSA Sports Car Championships, and now it looks as though he's going to lose the place to Paul Tracy. Tracy's got down the inside and goes through, so that puts Tracy into 8th position, and surely it won't take long for Alonso Jr. to do much the same. He's running very much the same pace as his teammate Paul Tracy, and he now slipstreams Parker Johnston up the back straightaway. No, not quite this time. Into turn 3 is very difficult. We've only seen a very occasional move actually work into turn 3 today.
Yeah, tough to pass there. You really need for the other driver to lose a lot of momentum going down the straightaway, which he clearly did not do. And Parker Johnston and Alonso Jr., they had a great little battle at Long Beach as well, I seem to recall, towards the end of that race. And Parker Johnston, at the end of it, he was beaming from ear to ear. That was the best race he'd ever had, he reckons. He reveres Alonso Jr., and for him to be dicing with him so close together, first of all on a road course and now on the oval, he'll be having a ball out there.
Yes, he will, won't he? He'll love this particular situation. Parker Johnston not really known for his oval driving in quite the same way. As he came up through the road racing sports scene in here, the sports car championships, much more on the road courses than on the ovals. So he feels more at home on the street tracks and the tracks like Portland and Mid-Ohio. But he's doing a good job here on the oval track. Seems to have adapted very well, and at the moment he's keeping Alonso Jr. behind him in 10th position.
Very nice and tidy, just concentrating on his line and keeping that momentum, keeping just ahead of Alonso Jr. So it's going to be awfully difficult to pass. He's really got to be very incisive. Oh, big crash in turn 1. I think it was Scott Pruitt.
Yes, it's one of the Brahma cars. It must be